Are we late? Oh yeah, we're a couple minutes late. Hello. Okay, we're going to be based throughout the week from notes and the articles and stuff. Do. Wait, I grabbed way too much stuff. I'll drink. You sit that over there. Thank you. Well, first I want to talk about the vlog we made the other day with about the couple. I kind of was wondering other things that basically reasons that they might not be talking. Because as far as I know, and talking with his mom and stuff, nobody they haven't, and don't know who the couple is. But somebody mentioned maybe that they were involved. Did they actually see anything? And why haven't they came out to say what they saw? Because it could clear a lot of things up if they did see something. And then there was, one thought maybe that were they threatened by someone not to talk? But the only thing I kind of would rule that out would be the older couple would have missed the others involved, so they wouldn't have seen the people. Like they possibly would have seen them towards maybe the end, maybe the couple that drove up on the bridge. I'm trying to think. Because we know that he most likely seems to have drove by and then turned back around and stopped in the middle of the bridge. So the area the car parked at shows they most likely drove by and parked at that house that's on the one end and then got out to walk back to the area. Maybe they didn't see anything, just saw the car and parked on the bridge. They stopped to see what was going on. So, like I said, maybe they didn't see anything at all. Oh, I'm not saying we're live. What do you think about that? You just saw the picture. Yeah, it's the picture from our first, where the car was parked, going this, they would have drove by.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a possibility,
Yeah, anything's a possibility.
Hold on a second. Okay. Well, that was just kind of what I wanted to discuss real quick on that. But it definitely seems like they were in that area at that time. Which, if you're thinking though, yet no, we have not. So far, I've not found anything. The only thing I was told that there was somebody local had heard rumors about people that was involved, knew more, but that was about it. But no, so far no leads on them. But another thing, since they drove by that way, so his car's parked here, they would have drove parked here. If they would have saw somebody leave the scene, you would think they would have saw a car rushing away from that as well. So they might have been able to see that if anything, was going on there.
Yeah.
So that would make a good point. But the person, they could have been driving like normal, and you wouldn't really thought. But the way people are, though, usually if something they're involved in something, they're going to fly out of there. There's one thing about the couple that I find interesting. I think this is. I think this is what I'm looking at. Because I don't know. Yeah, that was one thing about them being calm. Unless the only thing I could think of, which they said they thought someone jumped. So did they? Well, you wouldn't think they would think that unless they looked over the bridge or saw something, somebody going off the bridge. That's the only thing that don't make sense to me. I would be calm if I witnessed, anything like that. You'll be like flipping out and like trying to figure out, what's all going on. Because
Well,
if you,
unless you like if you were in the field, like if you worked that stuff, like not saying they did, but just saying like if an EMT was off duty and was just driving in their regular car going by, like
yeah.
they probably wouldn't be like, oh, like jittery about it, but because they're used to that. But
Well,
I'm sure that's not the case here, but just saying like stuff like that, like if you were in the medical field and saw that a lot, you probably wouldn't. Or if you had like messed up emotional dissociation type things, you probably.
yeah, like with them not being too upset, like that's what kind of the way I've seen things, my personal, uh, opinion. People are nosy, and if they see, like, anytime you see a wreck, what do most people do? They look back, try to slow down. Like, if anything happens, like, people go there and try to see what's going on, and they kind of like want that 15 minute of fame. So if they seen something, and, they're not a part of it, they could have been like, oh, I saw all this.
People
Because
always want to
they're
say,
going to be
"Oh, I was
interviewed.
there."
Yeah, they're going to be interviewed by the news station, by police. They're going to be involved. I'm kind of wondering because I've seen so much stuff happen. And like I said, everybody, like years ago, we had a wreck. A guy wrecked up here where we live at, which is crap. It was a long, long time ago. I think I was a teenager. Walk outside. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. Like everybody's like up there seeing what was going on up there.
I can't say nothing. I'm pretty nosy, but what I don't like is people that take pictures. Like even if you take pictures, but I mean,
Haven't changed at all. I don't know that the couple crossed their path, but if his car door was open, there would not have been enough room for them to get through. That's another thing,
yeah,
though, too, because if they didn't pass that way, but let's say the only thing I could think of, they would have had to loop around somehow. Which I'm trying to think, what was that? There's a road right there too. When you're coming up on it, it's right on the right, ain't there? And then you got like that. That's yeah. I'm just not that type of person. So to actually park in their driveway, like I said, I wouldn't do that. But it is a good point though, because if the car door, which the car they were driving was little, so that would be a good test. Noticed in one of the dispatch things, um,
connection.
but
I don't know if it's actually on there. But yeah, the only thing I
I think it's the
remembered,
one up there on the right, maybe.
I may just not be able to remember.
Well, we did go at night. But here it says, I'm not sure exactly. It's between.
I don't know if it's actually working. Can you guys still see us right now? Like hear us and stuff? Okay, it says back.
Okay, but it's saying that I don't know what a single 14, 9, 12, 11 is, but it said there's a male and a female. So did they? And it says you may want to keep checking.
They, so did they.
But here it talks about later on is have a jumper westbound. They jumped off the bridge. The people are still parked up on the bridge. So I want to know. All right, thank you. Flag of a bit, not too bad. So I'm wondering, there's a male and a female because we know that the older couple, the gentleman was up there. Remember, he said he came out with the police, so we know that. But I'm assuming his wife stayed in the car, but with the cop would have noticed that. But he saw those people walking away, the couple. So I'm not. I guess Lily. But I don't know why they would have said they jumped off the bridge. Like, why is there a they? That's just what's confusing.
They could just be saying they as in like not knowing whether it was a man or a woman yet. Like saying did they jump? Like
Yeah, but you would
Did that
think though,
person?
if they seen them, they would stop them and talk to them. That's what I don't understand. That's a witness to a possible. Well, it's a witness to a incident.
Yeah.
Okay, there's something else I found. It's my comment. Okay, so basically, at 6:53, we know the interstate is closed due to an incident from the I think the Facebook post, if I remember correctly. At 7:03, 911 reported a possible jumper on McCoy Bridge. Then there was messages to him, to Colby, that was, "Hey, are you okay?" At 7:14, one at 7:19. Well, it's WYA, so where are you at? 7:30, message to him through Snap. Are you? We worried. And then 7:52, Snapchat, yo, 7:52, same thing. Basically, message 8:09. Yeah, we talked about that in what was it, the first video, the lady that saw. Remember the one that prayed with him until he passed?
Yeah.
Yeah, she saw him jumping because we were talking about how she said that it seemed like he jumped too high on a trampoline. But okay, those are from those last messages were from the house that he was at playing games. And then there was a message between people and asked if she had between two people and asked if they had heard from Colby. So, and at 9:04, he messaged Colby's sister and said, "Hey, try and call him. Cough. Haven't heard from him in hours. We were upstairs playing Madden with a bunch of guys, and he just." See. Okay, sorry if we lagged there a bit. I walked downstairs, sweating to puke. We went to check on him. He was gone. His mom answered me this question because I was, just anybody in the family. They think he would have contacted sooner. But his sister had said around 9:30 the cops showed up, and him saying that right after 9. She answered my question. The reason that she hadn't replied back, because at the time she's like, "Well, why is the cops here?" type thing. She thought something else was going on, so she just hadn't seen the message yet. So that makes sense. So she didn't see the message until afterwards, wondering where he was at. See, one thing said about sweating to puke, check on him, he was gone. These are like key points. And then it said one guy mentioned they knocked on the door. Another said splashed water on his face. Another said he watched him walk out, get into his car and drive away. So I'm assuming, like, was he sweating before he went downstairs? Was it afterwards? Like, because they said they didn't know if he was sweating or splashed water on his face. So I'm not sure on that. But these are all basically stories that it all came from like one guy, or the main guy in the thing. But another question: one man said he saw him leave, get in the car, and drive off, and then the main guy of the house acted like when they went to check on him, he was already gone. So that's another interesting. All statements still come from him, from my understanding. And it goes back to question number one. The search party 15 minutes later. So the timeline I'm kind of working with, we got 3:45. Colby's final class was over. Between 4:35, 15, he sent a pic to a friend on Snapchat. And at 5:15, he didn't open a snap from the same friend, and she had noticed his location was turned off around this time. So this means we're going farther back. Yes, that's my whole thing, and I think, hold on. Yeah, there's a part where I mentioned about that he would basically his roommate said he'd stay over at his friend's house when he was too high to drive. But why did they not allow this to happen that time? That's what I find interesting. Okay, so so we're looking at 5:15. So 5:38, there was a text sent to him from his roommate, and he never responded. And 6:35, his sister had sent him the snap that we know of. It was opened, and then she knew about his location being off. And then the main guy says, so it was like 7. We know that Facebook post about incident happened at 6:53. Roommate says around 5, but one article says 4. Yes. Basically, it was like it was dark. It showed the upper part of his face. I'm trying to see what I wrote. I wrote that down. I can't remember where I wrote it down at. Where did I write that down at? Yeah, but it was like a gray. She thought maybe like a gray headboard or something gray behind him. So it was like, I'm assuming just part of his face. So it was weird that the lights was off. Um, but like I said, 5:05, his roommate in a group talks of leaving the rec center. He says, I'm literally about to leave the rec. It's so packed. And then at 5:24, he says, I'm seriously about to leave. 35, he said, I just left the rec. I'm never going during queef hour again. So, to 5:35 is my opinion. Would you agree? Because when somebody says I'm about to leave at 5:24, then they finally say, they just left at 5:35, that would put him roughly at least 2 hours. So if the roommate saw him at closer to 5:30ish, I'm not sure how long it takes. Just a few, we didn't get to that house until roughly 5:45. So, and the bridge is like 5 to 10 minutes away from the house. And if we say 5 minutes, we would have had to leave at least 6:45. If we include traffic and such along, which it's mostly straight shot through River Park, I believe I've been out that way a long time ago. River Park. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But one route is 6 minutes, and another route is 7 minutes. So, like I said, most likely, since we believe he drove past the bridge, then came back, like we don't know where he turned around at, which I'm assuming he had to turn around right past the bridge to get back. But it does seem like where his friend, when he was over there playing games, they thought he was more than sick. John Chris said it was like something he never seen before. It was just like a body walking out the door. Yeah, they said he had.
So, like, he probably would be weird if it wasn't.
Yeah.
An enjoyable trip. But, like, you can't just do a normal, like, hearing test.
I personally agree. I wouldn't let him leave either.
Yeah, I wouldn't let him leave either, especially if they had never done anything like that.
They try to talk. Yeah,
because like the frat boy.
If his location was turned off the whole entire time he was there, so like I said, if we go with that route, like he might have went there for an hour if we go by what the friend saying, he saw him when he got back from the rec center. And they were said that he lost a couple games, won a couple games. Like I used to play Madden all the time. We're definitely losing that tonight. But see, I think we used to do 5-minute quarters, if I'm not mistaken. And that takes 20, 30 minutes to play. But in my opinion, according to the main story, it seems if he was spotted by his roommate when he returned from the wreck, I'm thinking he was only at the house for maybe an hour, if that. And if 10 minutes of him being downstairs and 10 minutes of him being different, acting funny, that's 20 minutes. I wouldn't see him gaming if he just sitting there out of his head type thing. But why have his
Yeah, like if
location?
he couldn't respond to talk, I don't see how he's gonna take it.
Yeah, that's my opinion. If he's like completely a different person, but why would have his location off there at 5:15? And his mom has said he's never hardly turns it off. But what if something happened right after 5:15?
Like his location in general, or like an app location?
I'm not sure.
Like the location on Snapchat, or like the
could be location on Snapchat.
Not the Find My Phone, but the because on iPhones.
I only turn my location on when I run.
Well, on iPhones, you have if you have a family plan, like an actual phone plan rather than like the cards, you can share it with your family. Like parents can track their kids. But if they turn it off, then obviously.
I think you just had Straight Talk, like what you got. If I remember correctly.
I don't know if you can do it through Straight Talk.
Yeah.
So that might have been the app.
Yeah, it might have been Snapchat app. But like I said, what if something happened? Okay, location on Snapchat. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So what if something happened after 5:15 and it was all covered up until the incident? So kind of like something happened, like, hey, what do we do?
But maybe they just thought about that. Because like on Snapchat, if you turn your location on, you get location filters.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Like I said, the whole turnaround on the bridge seems weird to me, but I'll go ahead and go to my other notes because it's not very long. I was going to do a separate video of this. We'll go ahead and talk about it. The girl he was talking with around 5, she mentioned about the last.
Too. I think so too, and they freaked out.
Yeah, because his mom mentioned that was another thing. His mom said that he saved photos of every day that week of certain plays or beating someone except on that day. Yes.
Yeah.
So I just see, like I said, about the girl, about the photo, she felt that something was wrong. And, he never responded. And according to her, she said in past conversation that he wanted to try cocaine and mushrooms, which, college experiment and all that, which no biggie. But
not uncommon.
He had messaged, what was it? She asked, what were you talking about? He's like, I forgot. And then sent the picture. So I don't think that picture was from his room. And if it wasn't, then that means it was over at his friend's house. Which one of the police officers clearly indicated the incident was not a homicide because no evidence went to that. But we've also know there's other things that, they say it was not a homicide when it actually is. So
homicide.
But not homicide.
All know HPD is about the easy road.
Yeah, which a lot of cops are.
But especially.
But they felt no foul play ever was a part of it. And see, they said that he took mushrooms on the 22nd. So that was 4 days. I wouldn't think there would be side effects after 4 days. Like I said, I've never done mushrooms, so
I've never heard of it and I never experienced it. So, I mean, not saying it can't, but
yeah,
I've never heard of it.
But you still think well, like what we talked about in the other ones, you think if there was something laced on anything that all of them would have a reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was also mentioned that he, might have arrived at the house. That's if we go with the one story that basically at 4:45 to 5, and he said that Colby had turned his phone off so he could hang out. That actually that would make sense, I guess. Which I just don't see if the girl felt something was weird, it's odd. In my opinion, it's odd that you would also pull into a gas station to the cops or your friends miss. That's just pretty strange, especially if you were partying yourself.
Yeah, like a cover up, they already knew.
So, like I was saying, with the girl saying something felt wrong, what if this was maybe him sending out a help me type thing? and then they end up turning his phone off after that. Like, that's one thing I could kind of look at. Because, like, he seemed to be talking to the girl and then just automatically just turns off his phone. I thought that was, weird. I know some guys do that. If a girl,
I don't think people these days turn off their phone to hang out unless it's like,
I could see him telling the girl, "Hey, I'm hanging out. If I don't respond back quick, I'm
yeah, but
hanging out
I
with
don't think he
friends."
like would literally turn off his phone.
And he's only 19.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 30.
Well, I'm only 23.
So, and I'm a supervisor there, so I have to kind of keep my phone
Like,
on
if
all
it
the
was
time.
something like important, I might put my phone on silent or
Yeah,
like, put it away, but I don't think I would actually turn everything completely off to hang out with someone.
yeah, and he hadn't before, because if they're saying
Yeah.
if he was there at 4:45, we go with their story. That means he was there for up to half an hour before turning it off.
Yeah, like that's just weird.
He could just say, "Hey, I'm hanging out with friends. You can run
Yeah,
here
that's
for me."
normal. Like that's
And
typical.
he planned to be there at back at 8,
Yeah.
which I think
His mom said he wouldn't do that.
yes, that's from everything I've read. And you've told me and stuff. I don't see him being that type of person to do that. Which, yeah, and with the whole excitement, I know we've talked about that in a few other videos. The whole excitement that he had with talking to her, but like, see, when I was in school and I hung out with my friend, hold on, but yeah, cell phones are big.
Connection lost again.
Let's think what I was looking for. I'm trying to find more about that picture. I forgot to say the thing, but it says it was the first half of his face from eyes up, and he had a gray headboard behind him. It was gray. I remember, but it was dark. But I know he was saying on something gray, or the headboard was gray or something. And then talking about the I don't remember and stuff like that. When I was like, "What did you say?" And he said, "I don't remember."
If it's on Snapchat, I'm like that.
Well,
Like I don't remember anything.
so I just don't get, like, it's gray. Like,
It could be a gray headboard, like
oh
there's
yeah.
it's really cute and it's popular right now, like that style. I have no idea what it's called, but you probably know what I'm talking about.
That if he could have been his friend, like I said, kind of my opinion. Like I said, if his friend's saying this 5:30 when he left the wreck, like, I don't see him getting there 4:45 to 5. But like I said, that's their story, which I'd put him there for about 2 hours roughly. But like I said, from our last video, like from all of this, somewhere time is off. Whether it be our opinions, others people's opinions, or their story, like something's off. Time is not correct anywhere in this.
I definitely think
Besides
kids
when
are lying.
besides when the incident happened, when whatever happened at that bridge, that kind of do back up with his friend saying he just left the wreck. But he could have got confused when he said the time. But 4:30 to 5, it's not biggie. But if it was closer to 5:30, you would think be like, you know what I mean. Like, that's still about an hour difference. So that's just my opinion on that. But at some point after he had left, we've talked about people see if they saw or heard from him. This would probably be part of the search party right after. So I don't know if they start calling before they start searching. And what I found odd is the one said one of the guys heard sirens and seen the EMS vehicles going up A Street, but none of it connected to being him. They say it's an open investigation. They still are waiting for people to check out the phone.
Yeah, it's really hard to get that stuff back. Like, my mom never did get hers back from her domestic violence case. Like, she never did, even after it was closed. So, like, I don't know.
But yes, going back, like I said, if my opinion on this, and I figure you're going to agree with me, if you're worried about your friend that just left saying that he was acting out of his head, he wasn't himself, he was completely just not him, he was a completely different person. And if I heard, like, little bit later and I heard sirens going off and seeing ambulances driving up, aren't you going to be like, oh my God, that's something with him? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that would be my opinion. Like, if she flipped out, and I'm like, well, she's not in her head, and then, I start hearing stuff 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh God, that's what we know. Something's going on. Like, it would pop in my head that it's her. Like, I don't see how none of them thought that.
That's the thing, they didn't have to think. They knew what was going on and what happened. And yeah.
Like, if he's acting weird, though, you'd still think, yeah.
Because they done it.
And I guess after this, around this, they would get in the cars and begin their search. And around 10 p.m. is when they saw Huntington police officers at a gas station, and they had stopped and asked if they had seen him. And the officers mentioned about they had just left the scene and that it was, Colby that had jumped off the bridge or whatever off the bridge.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So that's what's kind of weird. Like, I'm kind of, like I said, with the whole police thing, like, one thing I think about, is like I said, the no connections to the sirens and all that and seeing the vehicles. But they asked police at 10 if they had seen Colby. Like, what thought would cross your mind to ask an officer about an individual that was never reported missing? Like, I could be digging too far into it. Well, he told his friend about watching him until, he came back. So if he was going to be, like I said, either way you look at whatever time he got there, he was planning to be back by 8 o'clock. So, which they might just not like the dogs over there. I can't take my dogs anywhere. My dogs are big dogs. Besides Chompy.
No, he's still big.
Well, he's bigger. But
he's medium sized. He's not easy to tote around.
Okay. Like I said, I just don't see would you do that?
What?
If I took off somewhere and then, I would say roughly 3 hours down the road, you're going to ask the cops, hey, have you seen this guy? Which I guess in a way you could.
No, I wouldn't, because that's weird.
And especially after, which I don't know how long, all that lasts in your system. If they were, partying and all that. It just don't make sense to me.
But it doesn't make sense. They know that they did wrong, and they're trying to cover it up.
I would have.
And the police department isn't good enough to figure it out or care to figure it out.
Yes, I can see that. Like I said, could just be looking too far into that, and they're just stupid or something.
Yeah, it could be.
That's a possibility.
Because I think there is like no animal rule.
I'm not sure. I have not heard nothing about frat houses. I've walked by them and everybody there. And this is what I talked about earlier because, one of the roommates, like I said, talked about that he would stay over at his friend's house. Yeah, that's just weird. Like, that wouldn't be my first instinct to ask a cop about something unless I'm, like what she said, basically, like, make it like, oh, how could it be me? I was asking about him.
Mm-hmm.
His one roommate was president of the frat house, and his last name have a lot. I'm not sure on that. That's another thing. That is another thing. That's one big point I thought of.
I think it just comes down to shitty police work.
Some cops will do that, but they're not supposed to, and they can get in trouble,
get fired. Yeah.
But that is a good point because you're looking at 9:30 is when they showed up and talked to his sister. So.
Oh wait, I didn't see this one.
Why wouldn't the cops have told them to go to the station? Who give that information for the families notified out of gas station? Yeah,
Yeah, like go to the station, file a report for a missing person. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure on the last name. I'm not sure with the whole Marshall. Like I've done
Yeah, I'm not
paranormal stuff
sure.
with Marshall, but they were in another area. But that's the old thing I know.
I don't know if they even checked their phones.
Well, the private investigator, 'cause a lot of this that I'm reading is from the private investigator that was in that one article. Yeah, that's because I don't know. Well, like I said, around here though, a lot of people I've noticed because there's another local murder around here. Diane Bass. What was it? 2000. Was it 2014? Has it been that long? But she was on her, and they believe they know. Like my understanding, they interviewed the guy's parents, and the mom's like high up and everything, and they suppose like a lot of evidence points to him, but just nothing's been done about it. But yeah, like what you would think, would they have asked the cop's name by chance to say, "Hey, I talked to so and so officer. He told me this," but you would still think
No,
because we get that officer's name, you could definitely because no cops would be able to do that because you're looking at by the
I
time.
don't think the guys would.
Well, if they talked to his sister roughly 9:30 when they showed up there, then that. Yeah, they said something about it couldn't be seen.
I think so, but that could also have to do with the cameras time lapse. Like, however, it's regularly set up. Like, if it was erased purposely, then yeah. But if the camera done it itself,
it might
maybe
reset
not.
it might
Yeah,
records over the past. I'm not sure how they work. Like I said, mine
because some
did for a
people
while.
get the cheaper ones that don't record, like that doesn't keep all the footage just because it's cheaper.
Well, they're being weather related. I'm not sure how the news would do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember. Yeah, that's.
Colby post like he and Colby were friends.
Yeah, it's
Colby's post.
I know what you guys are talking about. Colby kid and all that, and like you got the air conditioner room or something. He was, yeah, it was kind of like petty stuff, but yeah.
Probably just not big fans of each other, and then
That you would think that the cop, which I think it's just where they're basically saying, "Oh, he jumped." There's no reason to look at it. I think that's why. Which I'm sure possibly now it's already way too late because that's kind of the way Sadly, it falls into place. I think it's just way too late now.
But there's way too many things that are like obvious indications of foul play for them to be doing that.
And then they just took the easy way out.
Yeah, they didn't want to do the paperwork. They didn't want to take the time.
We're told by professionals that the video is taken from a very good security camera from the dealership. She sent me some videos. I viewed them on my phone. I still need to show her on the laptop. It was hard to see stuff from what I was looking at. Like I said, I was looking on my phone.
Oh yeah, if it was on your phone, it wasn't.
People bullying them when someone was live.
That's so annoying. I call people out.
Dies making fun. It's like, oh, we were best friends. Yeah, that happens a lot.
I call people out on it. I'm like, did you know them? Like, I'm that petty person.
Like, yeah, I crap about anybody. They're like, oh, he was so, we were best friends, and it never was anything like that. Like I said, though, about the whole, I said, like, you would think if his roommate said that he stayed over there, because they had, I guess, a no drug thing at their house. So if he did do anything, he would stay over, at the other house where he was supposedly at. So why would they not let him stay? Like, why would you not let your friend stay if his roommate says that he stayed over there before? Like, why not this time? Like, why did he have to? Like, to me personally, if he knew that he could stay there, I wouldn't see him leaving. Even if he wasn't in his right mind, I think he would be the type of person. Like, he don't seem like a kid that's be like, well, I'm going to do a bunch of drugs and take off driving
He
down the road
doesn't
and wreck.
seem irresponsible,
Yeah, he
like,
don't.
from what we know.
Yeah, he don't seem to be that way. So if he did do anything that we don't know about, what you think in the toxicology report, it would show up. But since they said mushroom, you said that's what you read, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it's a special thing that you have to specifically test for. It can't just be like your normal labs.
Which they tried to test for quite a bit, but
So
whether they
did
or not, they said they did. But they did because they said it cost a lot of money to have it done.
Mm-hmm.
So if they did go back that far. Okay, the video shows like the bridge is so far away when me and went to Huntington Fairway.
So it's just like zoomed out, like the camera just makes it look.
We went to the dealership and the bridge is closer than what the video shows it is. I'm trying to think because when we were up, like I said, we went up there at night. We were up there at night. I'm trying to think how it was. Be like, hey, I'm not feeling right. I'm gonna stay here for a little bit. Can you let the dog out or something? Like I could see that maybe it'd be, but I don't like. I wouldn't see him going out if he wasn't in his right mind, because then it just puts himself in harm's way. But yeah, something definitely seems to be iffy.
Yeah, and like you said, with acid, you gotta have a spinal tap to test for it, and that costs money for people. So if they don't feel like it's good reason, like how the police were trying to rule it a suicide and everything, like they probably didn't even test for it. And yeah, someone's definitely covering something up.
A lot from my understanding, cops kind of ruled it as a suicide. I don't know how he got an accident because the railing we've talked about, it's so tall. Like, I don't think
that's about as tall as me, ain't it?
It's
like I think it's right at my head.
5 foot, and like
when we walked on it, I think it was right at my head. Like I had to bend my head to look through the crack.
Like when you think of an accident, you're like he slipped, fell over. You can't slip and fall over that.
Yeah, you'd have to climb. Like even as tall as he was, you'd still have to lift your leg over and stuff.
Yeah, which he could get over it, but I don't see him walking because the rails are kind of, if I remember, they like kind of curved, didn't they, a little bit? Like you wouldn't be able to really walk if you tried to walk. So I know he wouldn't.
He's scared of heights, and he was freaking out just being on there.
Yeah, so I just don't. I can't wrap my mind about that. Because, like I said,
because he didn't jump.
You would literally have to climb over it, to go. And I just I don't see him accidentally falling over. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're huge as well. But that's the thing, though, too. Like, okay, so if you're gonna walk, say that he did want to just walk beside the bridge and all that, it's still an ongoing investigation. But they have an open investigation, but they're still basically ruling it as suicide, from my understanding.
They're saying suicide, like it's not a closed case suicide, but
they said something about the medical examiners once said suicide. They're just basically still kind of,
they're stupid.
I didn't think they came here when I drove past there a few weeks ago. I live right across the street from River Park. Pretty, I may walk up there tomorrow and take. Yeah, like I said, we planned on going back up there during the day because we were wanting to check some stuff out. But yeah, like I was saying though, like anyway, like if say that he just wanted to walk, maybe like say, hey, I want to get some fresh air, but we still don't know why he went that way because my understanding he just went straight when he should have took the left, like way before. So say that he just want to go sightseeing, get some fresh air. I don't see him parking in the middle of the road to do that. So that's why I don't see him, like if he's going to walk, I see him kind of going, parking maybe and just walking around. But you would think he would stop and do that at River Park if he was wanting to do something like that. Because River Park's a whole lot prettier area. I think it does, if I remember correctly.
And I don't know a lot about that, but speaking of that, like, are they even allowed to fill that out when it's not for sure? Like, could they even put that legally? Like, can you write it and it still be open?
Well, okay, that makes with LSD, which is so no special testing can be detected in the blood taken with 24 hours and kept below freezing up to 12 months. Yeah, I knew from looking up at the bridge, like looking out towards that way. Yeah, the dealership was a little bit closer, but which I knew in the video footage it seemed very, very far away. I'm trying to think, it's right there on the bridge area. See, one thing it mentioned about the private investigator said that all the guys handed over their phones, but another source, which I believe was his wife, and forgot who the other person was, said that was a lie and they didn't hand anything over. So I'm not sure. So you're looking at two separate things. Did they hand over their phones or did they not hand over their phones? Something like, say that I was involved in this and I knew, say that, what the story looks like, that's what happened, I would more than likely say, here's my phone. That's just my personal opinion. But if I was involved in it and I know something happened that I'm not saying is happening, then I'm not going to hand my phone over. I'm going to hide it because I don't want to be in trouble. Part 6, I saw where his mom had mentioned that some people were talking to her until kind of the story got out there a little bit, and then they kind of quit. So that the whole PI did not get the phones like he stated in the report. So it sounds like he just wanted to get some easy money and say, "Hey, I've done this." So I'm kind of wondering, like, I don't know why the PI would lie about that. Like I said, but like I said, though, with the whole thing about the people talking and they quit talking, because people do get scared easily. That's why a lot of people don't talk to police and stuff, because sometimes they feel intimidated or the police might take them the wrong way and they feel like they might get in trouble over it. Which I've tried, telling people, hey, you can reach out to us, because I try to be that type of person, not to try to put people's names out there and stuff if I can't, don't have to. And especially when it comes to something like that, I think still if we could find that couple that was mentioned would be very, very good. I think they could clear a lot. And there's another thing, I think she might be in the group. Well, in the do 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 do. Yes, Kay, you're in the group. Kay Franklin. She mentioned about that she found it odd that the gentleman who had spoke about the couple had such detailed memory of the couple 5 months after the fact, from head to toe of their clothing to the couple's height, weight, hair color, and style of it, to their complexion of their skin, but he is uncertain of the make and model and color of their vehicle. Which he was very close to being parked beside. I'm not sure, but that alone raises a question in my mind. Like, you make a very interesting point in that post. With your long post that you made, I'm going to get over that. I hopefully will try to get that situated next week, and then in the next video, I want to talk about some of the questions you had in that, because you make very lot of valid points in your post that you, and the one that you had messaged to me as well. So, what do you think about that? He couldn't remember the car, but he can remember more details of the people. The only thing I could think of maybe is that the situation he didn't see, like the car, he saw the car but didn't really register in his head, but the couple did, because it turns out, the situation was interesting. It was horrible, tragic, and this couple was all calm, odd, so that probably stuck out to him more than a car would. It is kind of my opinion on that.
So I was Googling the LSD thing, because apparently even still like today, like I'm on the medical news today website, whatever, and it's like it says even today that it's very hard to study it because it depends on like the person's health, like overall health, their age, like how their body breaks down things, and the urine, blood, spine, everything is different. So they said it's actually a really hard thing to study, and like hair samples, stuff like that too. Sorry.
I don't know, these are stuff that I kind of got to go over.
And it says that it also has high false positive rates. Like when they've tested people that haven't taken it, that there's been high false positive with it. So that's kind of crazy.
That is
I
interesting.
didn't know all that, but the more you know.
It is interesting. Okay. Yeah, he had bruises on his fingers.
Bruises on his fingers.
Where at on his fingers, like
upper part of them, like by the nails, or lower, like in the knuckles. That's my thing too. Like
that would be a weird time to experiment, like when you need to be on top of your game.
Yes, near the tips.
Like his finger part, like grabbing something, or
I don't know. That'd be.
like if he was like hanging on.
I know they talked about, with that one lady, I think, so they should check underneath his fingernails for anything, like if he would have fought somebody. Because I would think he's gonna.
Like if he would have scratched somebody.
I think he would have fought somebody if he's not in his right mind though, and like say they gave him something, knocked him out, then he ain't gonna be fighting back. But so Casey, I think that's where they were that day was Ritter Park. His timeline, Colby's timeline showed his location there the day prior, that he had searched for that address 5 times, but showed he was already there. Huh. A few scratches on his hand. I remember reading the thing that she sent me, like. I don't know if just falling would actually put scratches on your hand. Just strangely weird. That would be. I'm not sure what would cause.
They didn't cover it up, like not to be weird, but usually I thought they did makeup to like make them look like if they were bruised or stuff like that. Like I thought that was always covered. So that in itself is weird to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been DNA.
Yeah. But going back to the guy though, but she mentioned about that he was uncertain. Well, yeah, uncertain of the car. So then he claims that he walked up to the railing, looked over while standing beside a police officer, and the officer just lets him walk away. I don't see that. That's what we were kind of talking about earlier. Like if the couple's there, that this guy's here, I don't see them just letting them leave. Like that, like even at the time, you'd think the cops would be like, "Hey, you're in this area. Can we ask you questions?" They use lots of makeup. And then what? Yeah, talking about using lots of makeup to cover it up. We're talking, that's what I was talking about. Must use lots of makeup to cover up the bruising.
But they saw it.
Saw what?
They saw it at the funeral.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't covered up very good.
Well, they tried, is what he's saying. That, or maybe if he was pushed from behind that stayed on a concrete road or something, tried to catch himself. That's interesting to know. Or tried to catch himself. So yeah, I think they said his nails were already cleaned. But going back
cleaned by someone, like what, like the people, or like
I'm not sure.
That's weird.
I'm assuming it would have been. I'm assuming it'd been somebody
so if
that dealt with them afterwards.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, not like right around all that.
Like I'm saying one of his friends didn't do it. Like the so-called professional or like someone.
I hadn't really got going back to a case thing. What makes kind of interesting, I hadn't really went back over that message. Well, I did go. I did go over it the other day, but where she mentioned about that he said that he had saw him and that the EMS provider is working on him. But I don't know about that because the 911 report, the officer arrived before EMS, just around 11 minutes before. So who did this man see standing or working on Colby at that time? But she even says, I'm wrong in my thinking. I may be wrong in my thinking, but if it smells like shit, tastes like shit, then it's probably shit. Like that is a good point. If he said he thought he saw somebody working on him, but the cops arrived before EMS did.
Is that just what's said on paperwork, or like were they literally there before? Because somebody was already there working on him, like somebody needs to figure out who
Which,
it was.
unless he's talking about the lady,
I was praying.
yeah, which he would have been knelt down to him.
I don't think they would have said that's working on him.
Well,
unless she was like doing CPR or something.
I don't think so. But it just could he just could have seen somebody knelt over him and not knowing what was going on.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because she said I had to swerve off the interstate, and this black man behind me had to swerve because he almost hit me. I immediately stopped my car, got out, called 911, fell to my knees, and started praying for him. I didn't know what else to do besides pray out loud. I was praying for the Lord to help me, and I prayed until he took his last breath.
Did she mean black car, or did she really say black man?
She's put black man, so it's what's in the
Maybe
thing.
she meant black car.
Well, the guy might have stopped though too. If you just see somebody falling, you won't stop.
Well, yeah, but I feel like that's kind of rude.
Well,
to just be like, it's black guy.
Well, whoever's in the car.
That just seems rude.
So that's just, I don't know. That's just kind of interesting. Because I could think maybe that'd be the only person I could see unless it was if a police officer arrived. But that woman said, I think she even said it took a few minutes for him to get there.
Yeah.
So it might have been her.
Is that a busy section of the interstate? Does it get real busy, crowded?
You're looking at 6:53 to 7. Have any of your work traffic or not?
Not at the time. I just mean in general.
I'm not sure actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was just praying for him.
So
basically,
just knelt down by him, and that was it.
So maybe they just misconstrued that as working on him.
Yeah. That's
the blood all over the place thing. That's
Let me.
I personally think that he had already passed away before being thrown over.
Let me find her message.
But is it a busy just regular? Because I don't I was trying.
We were just down there the other day.
I was trying to think of why they would be so careless. Were they just trying to get the interstate going again? Was it because when wrecks happen, they try their best to hurry and clean up stuff and get everybody taken care of, that type of thing. But that kind of carelessness for this long though. Was that the same lady that told you not to go any further till you found out what happened?
I'm not sure on that. Okay, she might be talking. Okay, Franklin.
Oh.
Hold on. Okay, yeah. That's okay. She's talking to Gwen, his mom. Because we're the lady that said, because she even basically said, do not find out more information. See, that's what I thought was weird, that they didn't mention her as a witness, but they took her statement as basically said, hey, leave.
Sure. Didn't you say she said she did see him?
So it's seen falling. Yeah, it's but going over Kay's message because about the whole blood question that Brad mentioned.
Yep.
But she said she had personally talked to one of the witnesses, seen him fall to his second death because she said second death. See, the white car is the couple, from my understanding. That's who had
That
the
we've
white
been
car.
trying to look
Yes,
for.
the blog that we just posted. That's the white couple, and I'm thinking the guy drove. I think it was his car, then the white car parked there.
Yeah, I saw him falling, but didn't see him jump. Like, yeah, like saw him flailing his arms.
That's really nice of the lady. That speaks a lot about her character, I think. So she drove 4 hours. Like
Aww. Yeah, that's nice.
it's not something that she just like then just never thought about. She actually traveled.
Yeah.
But yeah, but Kay had mentioned that she had saw him fall. Well, not her. She saw him fall, but the witness she talked to. But she thinks he died a couple hours prior, which we kind of talked about. But this witness stated that it was odd to them that there was no blood on the ground around him. Now there was any blood on him. Now she didn't claim to be an expert, but she's been 15 years around with the local EMS emergency squad, had responded to many horrific scenes. One that had haunted her for her entire career, and when a person obtains such traumatic injuries as he did, 'cause he obtained a lot. Having at least 7 or 8 open compound fractures of the ankles, legs, and wrists and arms, the human body would have bled out from those injuries. And as I stated, I'm not an expert, but I do have common sense, and that alone tells me there should have been blood somewhere. The funeral director said he threw his clothes away because of the blood on his back of his shirt, and his clothes being on the back of his shirt, blood stain and scratches on his back. The image states there was no rigor mortis nor visible. There was no mention of the final visual reports of his body from the corner of it. See, at the back of the neck, as far as we know, was there from the witness. Also, his eyes were wide open. Okay. So it was over 3 hours. It was over 3 hours before they moved his body from the road. It only took a few minutes to run a strip to around someone dead. That's all EMS did. They should have checked him to see how long he had been gone. So nobody has an explanation for blood. But I spoke to another lady that was just a couple hours cars back, and she didn't remember seeing any blood either. So
Okay,
hold on.
Kay, while you're watching, I don't know if you'll know this or not, but like when somebody has already been dead and laying a certain way, like the blood pooling, I know we talked about this in another video, but like, could that be the blood on the back of his shirt? Like if it had pulled to his back and then he just hit and it kind of like he got scratches or something and like released the blood pooling.
Well,
That may not make sense. I don't know.
See, because Kay was talking about lands in the road, not in the grass between. That you make a valid point. Like they wanted somebody to hit them to tell, kind of like he committed suicide, got hit by a car. That takes away evidence.
Yeah.
Which in this retrospect, it kind of like if they threw him over, you're looking at perfect because look where it's at now. Nobody's doing anything. But yeah, going back to the wide.
What's our shitty police department do?
Yeah, about his eyes being wide open. She said that's not to be visible to the untrained eye. Her thoughts on the no blood is a dead body don't bleed. And she believes that the eyes were opened because it's the whole 2 hours prior to his fall. So she's saying he died 2 hours. That explains, where we talked about the password and stuff they were trying to get to open his phone around 9:20 that same evening. So that's just what I find interesting from what Kay said in that message. Like, because she's saying that there's no cutting of his clothes.
Clothes off.
See the run chiefs and paramedic who treated him by placing forces on him to confirm the time of death. There was no cutting out of his clothes. So did they check the back of his head? Maybe the blood on the back was from his head. That's, I don't know. It's
And they didn't do an autopsy.
well,
and how long he'd been dead, like what, around about time.
Not to change the subject, but one of the podcasts I'm listening to right now, the West Memphis 3 that everybody knows about.
Yeah.
Well, it's called Out in West Memphis 3 because it's about the little boys.
Oh, yeah.
And they were talking about where a lot of stuff, how the cops basically, they had their eyes set on one thing, so everything went that one way with Damien and Jason and all that. Well, they said
trying to make everything fit the way they want to see it rather than letting it.
Well, they said the boys, a lot of their stuff that they said was satanic was not. They said most of it, if you look, it was done by animals after the fact. It was after.
Well, they said that in the documentary.
Yeah, but it was after post-mortem, basically. Like, they said one boy might have been live when he got tied up a little bit. Okay, that's
okay.
So the point of the blood starts as soon as the body dies, but it takes approximately 2 hours to see that.
Okay. And if you make a bruise, probably.
So yeah, I don't get the whole. There should have been blood. Something. Yeah, I agree with that. We're still looking at his shoe. His shoe was there that they left.
And his sheet, yeah.
Which wasn't his shoe. Like, would a shoe have blood all over it?
Well, not if it flew off before it broke. I don't know.
Well, pull to a new location, which is where they can tell if a body had been moved from a location to another. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Thank you for telling us that.
And kind of makes you look at things a little different when you read it. Then the question they said you asked about the other gentleman.
I've thought like that too, but yeah, be careful what you say on the internet.
Which I think, if I remember correctly, the private investigators, I think he said he talked to them separately and all their stories lined up. Like, it seems to be more.
They probably had a plan.
Which Gwen's taking it. I like how she's approaching it. Like, she feels, she has her mother instinct that we've talked about, but she also sees it as, well, what if everybody is right and he did commit suicide? She's going to have to prepare for that, but nothing's adding up though to that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to go which way, because like the easy way is just what we've talked about, with the cops and medical examiner and boy stories. Like, we can go with that and then to wrap it up, but we don't know exactly where, because I hope in this video we've shared a lot that kind of makes you think that, hey, like we said earlier, times are off, something's off, and there's a because if he would never turn off his phone and stuff like that, then why that? Like, why turn it off when he's over there? Like, do we have reports that he turned it off every time that he was over there? No, they said that he stayed over there, repeatedly. So the shoe that was thrown, that was off, was from the uninjured foot and ankle, and the shoe that was still on was unfortunately thrown away. Like, why would they throw it away?
There's like, evidence.
Who threw it away? Was it the police that threw it away? MS?
Like, he thought if the police didn't say, hey, we need that bagged and tagged.
Yeah, that's true. You would think everything would be, but I think it's just funeral director. Okay,
yeah, so
it's part of the clothes. You would still think, though, I don't know. I just wouldn't see throwing stuff. Was the funeral director the one up there, or is the one? Well, I'm assuming would be up there, since the funeral was up where he was from. You get the charger. I think it might be under the tank. Oh, it's right here. Hold on, our battery's getting low. Oh, So his hometown, okay. Because if it was down here, then you'd kind of make it like, hey, something's kind of fishy here.
Mhm.
But the one comment earlier, like with the boy's last name, if you got people that you're not getting in trouble, stuff like that. Which hopefully one day somebody will, come out and say something. Like I said, if anybody wants to talk to us, we're just two normal people. We're not going to, say who you are or anything. And I know a lot of people, I know his mom has said that, if you want to stay unknown, then so be it. We just.
Yeah, we don't mind that at all.
Like what she said, that we need more stuff. We need people talking to keep this going to see what happened.
Hit the table.
Sorry. But all she wants to know, like we talked about earlier, she don't care. Like she wants to know what happens, nothing adds up. So whatever she finds out to add up and whatever the truth eventually comes to be, she can accept that. But she needs to know why, because
that's basically what we do is just we try to get people talking, thinking about ideas, and just like get the story out there. And we appreciate you guys doing that. Like, it's very obvious that Colby is very loved and
yes,
like amazing turnout on the videos, and you guys like keep sharing and all this stuff. Like, we really hope that we can get somewhere with this. Like, we really want justice and closure for everyone.
Yeah, I could see this.
That again, because the connection was bad.
Well, if we like, what do you mean about the talked about suicide? That just basically that he never talked about. Because from everything I've read and everything,
For sure. But either way, like,
I think
we need to know the truth.
There would have been signs. I think even if he didn't say nothing, there'd still be little signs that he would have given.
But regardless of what happened, like how she said, she'd have to deal with it when she come to that. But either way, regardless if it was that, I don't think it was, or like, all the theories that we've talked about, like the truth needs to be out, and people need to speak up and say what happened. Like the people that were around.
Away from it, because hopefully it goes away, type thing. Like,
I don't know, but it's not going to go away because we're not going to let it go away.
Yeah, as long as you keep sharing stuff and all that, which, we don't mind talking about it and stuff like that.
And I know this was a long video tonight, and we always have to start late due to our kids, but you guys are some troopers hanging in there.
Okay. Yeah, that's. Oh, excuse me. Which a lot of people, they're like, not.
That in previous videos, like.
Yeah. The only thing is, though, too, well, it's not that people don't show signs. A lot of times they do show signs, just nobody picks up on it. But I just don't see.
I don't see that happening as close as everyone was.
And, well, that's one thing I was going to bring up. Real quick before we go, because it's a little late. Okay, he had a bucket list from January 27th, so might as well say 7 months before, of things he wanted to do. I personally can't. I don't. We're just. All right, thank you. We're just normal people. Like I started a blog years ago.
There's ways that
you'd have to talk.
We would have to know like exactly maybe, but we're not high tech like that. Like I barely can work the computer, so
which I always tell people I'm a private investigator. I just don't get paid for it because there's other cases that I've actually talked with people involved in it. Talked to various people, so it's just a lot of stuff which I don't really know if they would talk. That's the thing there too. I've reached out to
like maybe like
but you're
I don't
welcome
know how you
when,
do it, but like trying to like I don't know if we would have the ability to see what we can do. I don't know. Our connections.
Sorry, where our connections get. But yeah, I was wanting to go over. He had a bucket list though. Graduate college, move us to Japan, start a family of my own, win the lottery, retire at a comfortable age, drive foreign, have multiple cars, cars, ride in a submarine, be debt free, stay active, fit throughout life, have more than one boy. Like that right there, like I don't see. You know what
That's
I
a
mean?
life plan, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of life plans. See, that's
I've heard of,
that's
and excuse my language, but like you could probably like put on the thing, like make it like a dick measuring contest, like how people say the phrase, like, "Oh, I'm bigger and badder." No, I'm bigger and
the only
badder.
thing though. I don't fit in a which I am like.
Well, you could fake it.
I'm 30
Bruce
years
is
old.
not a fighter.
Well, I'm not.
Like,
I'm 30 years old. Like if I try to fit in with like people, it's roughly 20 years younger. So, but I don't party. Like yes, I'm drinking an alcoholic beverage now, but I've never been drunk in my life. I've never done anything like that.
thank you, Kay.
So I would not fit in any of that. I would not fit in a frat. Anything.
I can
Which
make it. I'll
I
dress him up.
which I work, so that would be the other hard part thing though too.
I'll dress you up and
'Cause I
like
don't-
send you texts of how to sound hip. See if we can get somebody talking.
I'd have to go over boundaries that I've never went over. Be very, very personal. I just don't really, because they seem kind of different people. I don't know. I've walked by the friends and all that, and I just don't. That's not my cup of tea.
You're funny. We'll figure it out. Like, we'll stay in contact. If you guys want to message us on Killer's Crawlspace page, like, we're always up to that. So, like, we thank y'all for being here and, like, sharing your stuff and letting us get the story out there.
Basically, you would need somebody that's in college that knows, like, you would need somebody that knows them, somebody that they could trust that they already know, that would not mind.
Tim Marshall.
Yeah.
I have a couple friends that go to Marshall.
There you go.
So, we'll see. I'll see if they know them. But you guys have a good night and stay safe. Keep the social distancing. Check on your families and stuff.
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
Keep a distance. Everything's going wild. Let's just hope everything gets back to normal soon and we get healthy and everything's good.
Which not sure if we'll have another video next weekend. 'Cause I know we got Easter and everything coming up. So
That's a good point. Yeah, that's true too.
yeah, that you make a good point. Because if they know something's going on, they're going to be like, "Hey."
Yeah, they could do it to that person as well.
Yeah. I don't know, the world weird like that. But thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, I don't know if we'll have a video next weekend. I'm going to try to gather up some more stuff. So, like I said, with Easter coming up, so I hope you guys have a good Easter. We got 3 little ones that we'll have to, well, basically just hunt eggs out in the yard and not social gathering. But good night to you all, and we will see you all later.